So she really thinks they're gonna let her live? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with episode 1112 of One Piece. And last time the traitor was finally revealed. It is York, the Vegapunk embodying greed, which also really makes sense when you think about it. Like, when going through all the different Vegapunks to like kind of figure who would be the best case of the traitor, I don't think that I took their epithets into consideration as much as I could have. Like I mentioned, like, oh, the most obvious would of course be Lilith because evil, but that's too obvious. That makes it's like that's just not going to be the case. And Shaka being good would be the second obvious and everything. But like then with the others, I didn't take their epithets into account, and I was just talking about who they were and what their characters were and how it just wouldn't make sense to be any of them. I narrowed it down to York that way. But York is greed. York embodies Vegapunk's greed. And so her motivations here, which as we found out is to become a celestial dragon because for some reason she thinks the government will let her live. And even if they do, it's not going to be in a good way. She's going to basically be a prisoner. She's not going to be a celestial dragon. Yeah, it's done for purely selfish reasons. She's acting for greed. So she's living up to her name. She's living up to her epithet. You can't deny that. But at the same time, it's also kind of stupid because again, I don't think it's going to work out for her like she thinks it is. It wouldn't make sense because I feel like it would be basically out of character for the government to let her actually become a celestial dragon. Because to the best of my knowledge, that's not just something you can do, right? You literally have to be born into it. Because the celestial dragons, unless I'm mistaken here, and I'm pretty good with One Piece lore, but not perfect. But the celestial dragons are the descendants of the original royalty who created the world government, right? I believe that's what it was said. That the original kingdoms that came together to create the world government, their descendants are the celestial dragons. And so it's not something you can just become. You can't just be named a celestial dragon. They literally are born into this position. That's kind of the idea. And that's why they look down on everyone else, because they're not born into that position, because they are born into a lower class, naturally speaking. That's the idea. That's where their high and mighty attitude comes from. And it's fucking ridiculous. It's stupid, of course, but it is what it is. And unfortunately, has been very much shown to be a thing in real life throughout history with royalty and whatnot. And even just with, rich people today. So, unfortunately, a little more realistic than we would like. But, yeah. It's just like, it doesn't make sense for her to think that she's going to be made into a celestial dragon. That just does not make any sense. And the weirdest part is, like, she's a Vegapunk. Literally the smartest person in the world. How the fuck does she think that this is actually going to work out? The only way I can see that making any level of sense is if the government like fed her some kind of bullshit lie about some kind of like proclamation about like, oh, if you serve the celestial dragons in a certain way, then you can be given the title yourself, even though you're not born into it. Which still doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's like at least you're like gaslighting her into believing some kind of proclamation exists, or maybe the Gorosei lied to her and just told her that they would make it happen, like they have the power to, which they definitely do, but that they would make it happen. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. The point is, it's still very stupid, and in all reality, if she isn't just killed by them, she would absolutely just be taken as a prisoner and be forced to act as basically a slave to them. And be much more under their control than Vegapunk was before, so that they could stop her from actually doing anything, you know, much more dangerous in their eyes. While all this is going down, like while she's being revealed as the traitor and everything, though, we also have the battles still going on with the Seraphim. And right now, it's still pretty much one-sided. Even with Luffy and Lucci, like, really giving it their all, none of our heroes are really winning at the moment. Like, Zoro, I think, is doing the best, weirdly enough. Even better than Luffy and Lucci are, which is kind of weird to think about, but yeah. Zoro at least isn't having as much trouble. Though he is still not really accomplishing much at the moment. They basically are at this point just waiting for the flames to go out on their backs, which will make them vulnerable because they have the DNA inside them, the lineage factor of the Lunarians. But it's seeming to like take a very long time, and the thing is, the fire goes out when they move into a defensive position, right? When they defend, the fire goes out, and when they're in like attack mode, basically, it's active. But it's like that has not happened. So are these Seraphim just like in full on attack mode at all times? Just because they're basically robots, they don't just go into a defensive mode unless being told they can, maybe? Maybe when York overrode their command, maybe she had them just stay in attack mode, knowing their weakness would otherwise leave them vulnerable. That's a possibility. Excuse me. A lot of thoughts about it, but the best way to continue would be to just watch. To just check it out and see what this next episode has in store for us. So, we're going to get right to that, but before we do, I want to remind you all real quick that we have a lot of great content to check out on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, and on Monday, we have specifically YouTube reactions as well. These are YouTube adjacent, shorts, specials, mini series that just don't have a lot of episodes, or, you know, actual YouTube videos. Basically, anything that doesn't quite fit into a normal series or movie reaction, it goes in this slot. And speaking of movie reactions, we have those every Saturday and Sunday. I pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend just so that every day has some sort of reaction content going on for it. We also have a couple of Let's Plays currently going on the channel. We have Horizon Forbidden West every other day. So when I say every other day, I mean you'll see one have popped up today on Monday. You'll see that there will be one on Wednesday, and then Friday, and so on and so forth. It's just every other day. And we are also currently playing through Poppy Playtime on Saturdays, though this Saturday will be the final part of Chapter 1, and so far that's all we're going to be doing because that's all that's available on PS5 as of now. but we'll probably do more in the future when the rest of it comes to PS5. So after we finish Poppy Playtime this Saturday, chapter 1 of it, we'll go back to Anno Mutationum, which was a donation reward for Matthew Vasquez. But Poppy Playtime is a donation reward for Venom. And if you want to know how to donate for a future PS5 Let's Play, go to the channel search, and all in one search, type in June Double Reward Month PS5. It should lead you to the correct video that will tell you everything you need to know about how to donate for a future PS5 Let's Play. Or if you really want to, you can ask in the comments below. You can ask me via a private message on Discord, on other social media, whatever works best for you. It's your choice. Just giving you options here. But all of that being said, let's get on with the reactions, see what this episode has in store for us. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction because, yes, we do redirect all reactions on this channel. I understand you would rather not have to do all this extra work just to get to the reaction. You'd rather it just be right here on the channel. And I kind of do too, but you know how YouTube's copyright system is. It's really shitty. And because of that, just to keep things safe, to avoid any possible channel strikes, or worse, a channel termination, because I've dealt with both of those before and they're not fun. They are terrible to have to deal with. But to avoid those, I just push all the reactions off to another site. Makes it a lot easier, makes it a lot more manageable. But on the plus side, because of this, I am able to give all of you, yes, every single one of you, the full unedited reaction, completely free. That's right, no paywall, you don't have to subscribe to a Patreon, and you don't even have to sync up your own copy. I think that's pretty awesome because not a lot of YouTube reactors can get away with doing that, for some very valid reasons, whether it boils down to monetization, whether it's about copyright or other issues, because let's be honest, a lot of these reactors do make this their full-time job. And because of that, they need to do a lot of things differently than a reactor like myself would. And that's completely fair, that's completely valid, but I do admittedly pride myself a bit on the fact that I am able to give you the full unedited reactions. Again, completely free, no having to sync up your own copy, etc., etc. So I hope you enjoy the reactions as they are. And on top of that, after you watch them, you can come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after fades black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will not only contain spoilers to the episode, but just my general thoughts on it, general thoughts on the arc so far, stuff like that. And maybe even some stuff related to the channel, possibly. It can always happen, you never know. Always a good chance just to be safe to check things out. So, all of that being said, though, thank you as always so much for tuning in. And for now, I will see you at the reaction. And we are back and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, like all of the supernovas, the Kid Pirates have been set up since the events of Shabandi. And they had become a big deal, and especially during Wano, had a very notable role to play. Like I said at the end of the reaction, if this is the last time we see them, if this is truly their final defeat and they're just done for the series, which I don't think is the case. I think that they will be back. But if it is the final defeat for the Kid Pirates and we never see them again, then honestly, there is no better way for them to have gone out. I feel like there's a lot of people who would complain and bitch. It's like, oh, it was way too easy. They were taken out way too easy. It's like, it's fucking Shanks. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Eustace, like, picked a fight with the strongest of the emperors because this cocky fuckwaffle thought he was hot shit because he helped take down Big Mom. When, again, Law did most of the work, let's be honest here. Law was much more instrumental in taking down Big Mom than Kid was. Kid just assisted. It's just like, yeah, they couldn't have done it alone. They needed to do it together, but still. Why does Kid have, like, this level of cockiness to where he thinks, after taking down an emperor with the assistance of another person, why does he think he can face a much, much stronger emperor on his own? With his crew, yes, but still basically on his own. Because his crew weren't even doing anything at the moment. He was just firing a cannon. But it's like, even with his crew, it's like they would stand no chance because Shanks has a crew and Shanks has all these allies, as we see. It's just like, what the fuck? Why would he think that's a good idea? The only reason is because of his cockiness. We know Kid is cocky. We know he's a self-important little bastard who thinks he's hotter shit than he actually is. And that's why this is the perfect way to end his story, if it truly is the end of his story. If this is truly how he goes out, and he doesn't return in, like, the Elbaf arc or something, or the future big grand war that's going to happen, if he doesn't return, and this is the way he goes out, this is exactly the way a character like him and a crew like his should go out. They go out fighting, but also they go out because of their insane levels of cockiness. They go out because they severely overestimated themselves while also severely underestimating their opponents. All because of one action that they slightly helped with in the past. That is exactly how they should end their story. And here's the thing. Like, I don't think we saw the conclusion to Law versus Blackbeard. I don't think we saw the conclusion to that yet. But if the Kid pirates are truly done, I am almost 100% certain that the Law pirates won't be. Because here's the thing. The Blackbeard pirates, absolutely not as strong as the Red Hair pirates. I am, like, 100% confident on that. As strong and as smart as Blackbeard is, as conniving as he is, and as dangerous as he is, especially with having 2 devil fruits, he's nothing on the level of Shanks. Like, if Shanks were, like, a perfect 100 in terms of his level, Blackbeard would maybe be 80. Like, there's still that big of a gap between them. If Shanks were a perfect 100, which I don't think he technically is, I think there are stronger than him, like this Emu character, but that's neither here nor there right now. The point is, if Shanks were a perfect 100, again, just for comparison's sake, then Blackbeard would be an 80. I would put Law probably in terms of that same scale at a 70, and Kid would be a 50. I think Law is that much stronger than Kid, by the way, yes. If Law had, like, the full 100% potential of his devil fruit figured out, Law would be stronger than Blackbeard. Because we know Law's devil fruit is insanely OP. Pun intended, because op fruit. But we know that his devil fruit is insanely overpowered. If, like, the full potential of it is unlocked, especially. And we definitely know that while he is extremely strong and extremely skilled, he's not yet unlocked his full potential. If he had, like I said, he if he had the full potential of his devil fruit 100% unlocked, he would wipe Blackbeard. Like, I would say he would be like an 85 at least, but more close to a 90. Like, he would close that gap even to Shanks if he had the full potential of that. And I'm being completely serious because, again, his devil fruit is insanely overpowered. I would say it's probably one of the most powerful that we know of right now. Now, Kid has a strong devil fruit, but his isn't that powerful comparatively. And Kid himself is just kind of like mindless violence and power. That's kind of his entire thing. He doesn't really think anything through. That's also why he lost here. And there's also the fact that Shanks has his hockey trained well enough, his color of observation, that just like Katakuri and Luffy, he can see into the future, which I assumed he could do that. Honestly, it's not a surprise at all because it's fucking Shanks. It's like Shanks absolutely is like peak with all of his hockey. Color of arms, color of observation, color of the Supreme King, he is peak. And I truly believe that he's like really just one of the best of the best in terms of hockey usage and in terms of everything else. And he kind of has to be because he doesn't have a devil fruit or anything. In terms of his swordsmanship, he's pretty much on par with Mihawk. We know that. In terms of his hockey, he has to be excessively strong, and he has to be just probably a very strong combatant, even outside of sword usage and whatnot. In order to survive in the new world to the level that he has to be. Now, one question I've always kind of like thought of is like, where does Shanks rank compared to like Prime Roger? And by extension, Prime Whitebeard, because they were pretty much on equal footing. I guess same with Garp. Those three were pretty much equal footing in terms of ability. I would say that he's like kind of a step below them. Again, if he were like a 100, those three at their prime would be like 110 maybe. No higher than that, because Shanks is at his prime right now, and he is almost to their level, I would say. I feel Garp, Whitebeard, and Roger would be just a tad bit higher. But also enough higher to make it clear the difference still. Um, but I mean, we haven't seen like the most of Prime Whitebeard and Roger. We saw a bit of them and a bit of their abilities during the flashbacks during Wano, but we didn't really see as much as we would have like hoped because there wasn't a lot of action during those scenes. A lot of it was travel, a lot of it was, getting to know the characters a lot more, family stuff with Odin and his family being born on Roger's ship and all. It's like stuff like that. Um so it's just interesting to me to see how um how do I want to put this? It's interesting to see how strong Shanks is here while probably not trying that hard, let's be honest. Um to take out Kid and them with basically the flick of a finger equivalence. Like he was protecting, obviously, his allies who mean so much to him. It makes a point of showing how much his allies mean to him beforehand. And when we see that he realizes his allies are under threat, we see how serious he becomes and how intense he just goes after the kid pirates. And the interesting thing is, when they're begging him for mercy and stuff, he kind of, gives them mercy. He just leaves the ship. But at that point, the problem is that the attack would have also targeted Elbaf, since they were at the shore of Elbaf and everything. And unfortunately, while Shanks may have, decided to give mercy and leave, the giants are another story. Dory and Broggy, see, they're going to protect their homeland with everything they have. They are very proud warriors of Elbaf. And they are absolutely going to protect that. So it's like, even if Shanks shows a little mercy, he also knew that Dory and Broggy were about to attack as well. I mean, he kind of set it up for that. So he really didn't show mercy. He just didn't need to do anything further, because he knew that his friends would take care of the rest. So there's that. But yeah, things are getting pretty intense, pretty exciting, pretty insane. Now I do want to say real quick, I do know of what is to come in the coming episodes, or I should say what is not to come. And what I mean is, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about. So if you don't want spoilers, because I am going to briefly just discuss, and there's not going to be like a huge amount of detail or anything, but this could be still considered a spoiler, so I'm warning you ahead of time. If you don't want spoilers, those are my thoughts on this episode. You can end the redirect here. You don't have to continue, because the last part of this is just going to be talking about these brief, kind of minimal spoilers, but also notable still. So if you don't want spoilers, for you, this could be the end of the video. So thank you for tuning in, but we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I do know that the next, I think it's 10 or 11 episodes or so, are not going to feature the events on Egghead. So I have found out about this already, because it was being talked about on Twitter, and unfortunately, One Piece fans don't know how to stay away from spoiling people. But I don't know like everything that's about to happen or whatnot. I just know that the next 10 or 11 or so episodes are going to be focusing on other stuff happening around the world of One Piece. That basically, following the reveal of the traitor and everything, Oda basically decided to go and like check in with everything else happening, like, because all this other huge stuff is going down. We're basically ending off an act of the Egghead arc, doing a little in-between stuff for a while, and then we're going to come back to the next act of Egghead. That's kind of how I'm viewing it. So I know the next good amount of episodes are going to be centered around other stuff. So we'll probably get, I guess, back to Law and Blackbeard. We'll probably get back to the stuff with Helmeppo and, Kobe having been taken and stuff like that. Probably some other stuff too. I don't know exactly what else, but we'll see. Like I said, I haven't heard what is going to actually occur during these episodes. I just know there's going to be a good amount of episodes that don't have the Straw Hats and Egghead and all of that in it. And I could see some people being upset by this, but it doesn't bother me because there's so much going on in this world, and I understand that Oda wants to, showcase a lot of the other big stuff, especially since it's the start of the final saga still. Like, we're going to be focusing on more than just the Straw Hats here because we kind of have to. We kind of have to showcase all this other huge, insane, important shit going down. And technically, you could say that this episode started that, showing the stuff with Shanks taking out Kid and all. Even though that actually began like what, a couple, two or three episodes ago. But the point is, this episode, like, we got the little bits there with showing how the traitorous stuff went down with York and how she commanded the Seraphim and everything. All of that, how pre-planned all of that was. So, because of that, that was like the last we're going to see of it for now, and now we're just going to focus on the rest of the stuff, starting with the Shanks taking out Kid stuff. So I'm very interested to see what else we go into at this point. Like I said, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what we're going to go into, but yeah, probably quite a lot. And we're going to get some pretty insane shit, I am more than sure. But, in the meantime, I would love to know what you think of this episode. So let me know down below. And before we close this out, I do want to real quick remind you once again that we have a lot of great content to check out on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions. And on Monday specifically, we also have YouTube, or at least YouTube adjacent reactions. Really, anything that doesn't quite fit into a normal series or movie reaction goes in this slot. And speaking of movie reactions, we have those every Saturday and Sunday. I pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend just so that every day has some sort of reaction content going on for it. We also currently have a couple of Let's Plays currently going. I said currently twice there. I was redundant. We have a couple of Let's Plays currently going on the channel. We have Horizon Forbidden West every other day. And so you'll have seen one today on Monday. You'll see one on Wednesday, on Friday, and so on and so forth. Every other day. We also have Poppy Playtime on Saturdays. And this is a donation reward Let's Play for Venom. If you want to know how to donate for a future PS5 Let's Play, go to the channel. Go to the channel search, type in June Double Reward Month PS5, all in one search, and it should take you to the video that will let you know everything you need to regarding how to donate for a future PS5 Let's Play. But all of that being said, like I said, thank you so much for tuning in, and for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.